Council meeting, January 20th, convene 7 p.m.
All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a brief moment of silence and let us remember the families of Corporal Snook, as well as Keith Porter and also Renee Good and others who have been affected by recent days of violence. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Roll call, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have Councilman Drew. Mayor Gott,
Present.
Councilman Johnson,
Here.
Councilman Miles,
Present.
excuse me, Councilman Olson,
Here.
Councilman Pope,
Here.
and Vice Mayor Dr. Upshur.
Present.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Are there any additions or deletions to the published agenda? Do we have a motion to accept the agenda?
I make a motion to accept the agenda.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Been moved and seconded to accept the minutes and consent agenda.
Thank you. On agenda items, mayor and council members.
I'd like to thank everyone that came out to the town hall that we had last week. We've gotten a tremendous amount of feedback back, and I appreciate that. We covered a lot of topics that were very open-ended until then. Hopefully, the recording of it will be available soon, or the minutes, depending on whatever is available. I don't know that we came up with a firm answer to that. And I will keep it short and turn it over to Vice Mayor Upshur.
I would like to mirror what Mayor Gott said as well. It was very well attended last week, and I was able to see people I have not seen before, and was very vocal, and I appreciate that. I want to thank everybody that came out. That's all I have.
Council Secretary, Councilman Pope.
Thank you. I actually attended a virtual meeting with DMAC just on some legislative updates. We do have a few more of those coming up. And the town hall was a very nice, for the first time, I thought it was a very, very well planned event. Looking forward to more on that. And that's all that I have at this time.
Okay, Council Treasurer, Councilman Johnson.
Happy New Year, everybody. Hope we have another good, successful year with the town. And to all the town employees that's going to be pushing snow this weekend, good luck and be safe.
Councilman Olson.
Yeah, the Friends of Belmont Hall had a nice Christmas event last December, and they highlighted the historic heritage of Smyrna.
Councilman Miles.
I get what Alvin Pope said. Happy New Year. It's been a tough year last year, but we're gonna have a great year, and yeah, look forward to what we're gonna do.
Town Manager.
Just a few things on my list. Everybody should have a copy of the manager's report, which kind of touches on December, which you'll have hopefully by the next meeting. You will see an overview of what 25 looked like for us. There's a couple of changes that we're talking about making. One of them is kind of the structure of the council meetings and how they are managed. So I've been talking with Barrett about a few things, and I've spoke with the mayor. So you might see a change in kind of the structure of how the council meetings will go. Then outside of that, I'm appreciative of everything that's going on with all the staff. And again, I can tell you that we are absolutely waiting for whatever is happening this weekend. We are monitoring it, so please keep your eyes out and your ears out, check your phones. We'll be putting some stuff out to keep everybody up to date on what's going on with the town.
Chief?
I know I have you drowned in reports for this meeting. That is not my intention. There's a lot to digest there, so I won't dive too deep into it until you guys get to look at all of it. But you have our annual report. You also have our annual response to resistance report. I am happy to note that our uses of force are down. Complaints overall are up, but it is mainly accidents and domestics, which are to be expected in a bedroom community that is growing. The good news is major crimes like burglaries, thefts, and robberies are all way down. Property checks are way up, so we're being more visible and we're solving crimes.
Barrett, you have anything, sir?
I don't have anything. Thank you.
And I would like to wrap our little comment section up with thank you to everyone that came out and participated in Red Sand. It was very successful and we look forward to next year. I don't know that we've set a date yet, but as soon as we do, please put that on your calendar. It's really important. There is a Red Sand human trafficking town hall at the police department from 6 to 8 that is going to be put on by DayTac next week on the 28th as well. The follow up to that. And I believe that is it. On to old business.
Before we do, I just want to make sure, just for housekeeping, regarding the council meeting minutes from December 15th, to make sure that we get a proper approval on that.
Okay.
Before you, you have the council meeting minutes from December 15th. Do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
So move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Motion is carried. The council meeting minutes of December 15th, 2025.
Thank you. My apologies. Number 7, being as there's nothing under old business, that will take us to item 8, new business, including discussion and possible action on the following items.
So at this point, we need to make a motion for the next town election, which will be Vice Mayor Dr. Upshur and Councilman Nick Miles, an at-large position, and District 2 to take place on April 28th, 2026. And are we looking to do that here at Town Hall?
All right, discussion? Do we have a motion to approve the setting in place for the election in April on the 28th here at Town Hall?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
It's been moved
Opposed?
it's been moved and seconded that we set the next election for April 28th, 2026 here at Town Hall for the 2 positions that were previously named.
Can you please let me know what time you're doing that? I know it
That
says
time
please,
is-
but I also need a time.
Is it 7 a.m.? Do we start?
Last year was 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And it was like
Make a
that
motion. We
year
use the
before
same
as well.
time, 7 to 8.
Do we have a second for the?
Second.
All in
you.
favor? Aye. Opposed?
Motion is carried. The time will be set for 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. There are. Yep. The election board members, I have not heard back from 2 of them. But the committee was going to remain the same when I set the committee in January.
We'll attempt to reach.
Okay.
We'll come back to the next meeting.
Okay. Review and approval of Downtown Development District Master Plan and 5 years of renewal. Jeremy?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is, you're up for our 10-year renewal for our Downtown Development District Plan. And I believe Councilman Pope, you were on here when it was first designated, when they were on the council before, but you were the only council member. Many of you knew this is a new program to you, even though the town has had this in effect for almost 10 years now. Okay, so this legislation, this program is for specific municipalities to start downtown redevelopment. both in commercial districts and outlying residential neighborhoods. And it was signed into law by Governor Markell in 2014. And there's been a series of communities that have been designated since 2014. So in the first round in late 2014 and into 2015, Dover, Seaford, and Wilmington were designated. In 2016, Smyrna was one of 5 communities that was designated. And then most recently in 2019, you had an additional 4 communities that were designated. As a requirement for applying, you had to do a downtown development district plan. And in 2014, the town had hired Rick Farrell, who was our economic development third-party consultant at the time, who developed a plan and which was updated in 2016, which was submitted to the state and adopted. However, in 2019, the state drastically updated the requirement for what has to be in a downtown development district plan, which essentially required us to rewrite the plan based upon the new requirements and all the new information that is required. So the initial period for designation is for 10 years, and the governor may renew each downtown development district for 2 5-year periods. So we are on our renewal for our first 5-year renewal, and we may reapply for another 5-year renewal in 2031. In November of last year, the council appointed 5 members, both business people and residents in the downtown area who worked and met a series of times in the past couple of months to help assist me write this plan and to assist with identifying changes, significant changes. So the certain things that have to be done are supposed to be identified and done with our new downtown development district plan. We have to decide whether or not to do an expansion of our existing boundaries of our downtown development district. You can leave it the same or you can expand it using a state criteria. You need to evaluate how the program has been utilized and how it can be improved within your district. You have to update all of your demographic and tables and maps and everything of that nature. You have to identify new goals or revise your goals and strategies for redevelopment of your downtown. Every municipality which has a downtown development district is required by the state, and it's approved by the state cabinet committee for planning issues, has to be approved. You have to offer a series of local incentives to complement what the state offers to property owners and businesses. And you have to evaluate and make revisions as necessary. And then lastly, you have to identify what's called key priority projects, which essentially are those projects which rise to the top, which are more or less guaranteed to be able to get state funding for redevelopment. So our most current downtown development district plan, boundary, which is currently in effect, is the area shown in blue, essentially going from Bethel AME Church in the east all the way to Harris Manufacturing in the west. It does go up to Glenwood Avenue in the vicinity of North Main Street, but otherwise North Street is the northern boundary, and then Fraser Street on the south. So one of the things that the committee, the 5-member steering committee, recommended for communities between 9,000 and 30,000 under state law, you're allowed a maximum of 200 acres in your downtown development area. Our current area is approximately 187 acres. Committee identified approximately just under 11 acres in the vicinity along West Commerce Street going towards Spruant City, some of your older neighborhoods in that vicinity. In terms of what the zoning looks like, so you can't just identify any specific area for expansion. Your downtown development district area under state law has to essentially be your downtown commercial district and your downtown residential neighborhoods. Those are the 2 areas that are specifically allocated. And our central commercial district is going to be, and then the blue areas are your downtown residential areas, which those 2 districts represent the predominant areas. The big red parcel is Harris Manufacturing. which has been vacant for a little over 10 years now, or 15 years. The area that is shown for addition down West Commerce Street, almost all that area is zoned downtown residential. And when we went through with the steering committee, we identified a couple of different options for how the DDD can be expanded. The committee opted and recommended this expansion area along West Commerce Street. This map shows you how the DDD has expanded. So the General Assembly has gradually increased the acreage of what's permitted for the downtown development districts. It used to be that towns of our size could only be 150 acres, but they've gradually upped it to 180 and then 200 acres. So we've taken advantage of that, and we have expanded our downtown development district a series of times in 2018, 2019, and 2024. And then the area shown in orange is the area that is proposed this day.
And Jeremy, if I read this correct, we're up to 198 acres, only leaving 2 acres
Yes,
that has not been.
that is correct.
Thank you.
So we are at essentially the maximum. So, and that was one of the things that I presented to the committee, that you didn't have to recommend an expansion, but they did recommend approximately just under 11 acres. So the way that the downtown development district works, it's a two-tiered program. You have what's called small projects and large projects. They all operate under the same basic mechanism, where for every dollar of redevelopment that you do in qualified redevelopment expenses, and that could be new construction, that could be renovations, the state will, the Delaware State Housing Authority will reimburse you 20% of those costs, those hard costs. That's a check that's given to the property owner or the developer or the business, depending upon who did the work. Small projects are accepted on a rolling basis all year long. So as individual projects are done, as a new house is built, they apply to the state and they get funding. Large projects, you have to apply. It's now only done once a year. They're in the application stage right now. And if you don't apply during this period and get what's called a reservation, you will not get state funding, essentially. So it's a two-tiered, and they're given separate allocations of state funding under the state budget. Okay. So small projects, these are, you have to be able to qualify, you have to do at least $25,000 worth of QRPI. Is just a fancy word for qualified renovations or qualified work. Has to be done on the building or the site. And it's for work up to $350,000, which is the vast majority of projects here in the town of Smyrna. You're given 12 months to do it, and you're technically not supposed to have any gaps in construction greater than 60 days. And under that, if you qualify of $350,000 worth of qualified renovations or work, the state will write you a check for $70,000. It is a one-of-a-kind program. No other state in the country does this. It's a very generous program. Who is eligible? You could be the property owner. You could be a tenant. Somebody doing a tenant fit out like Baybird Orthodontics in the Smyrna Health and Wellness Building is qualified. It could be an investor or a developer, or it could be a residential property owner. And actually, we'll go into it. Most of the projects have been residential property owners, or even churches. Okay, so it could be new construction on a vacant lot. It could be the demolition and reconstruction of a new building. It could be a gut renovation of an existing building, or it could be a tenant fit out of an existing building where you're putting a new office or business in a particular space. All of those are all eligible activities under this program. There are a couple of types of businesses that are not permitted, things like adult entertainment and firearms dealers. Volunteer fire companies are deemed to be ineligible. We did try with Citizens Hose Company. They were deemed to be ineligible, but. So, and essentially, they will fund all of your hard costs. So everything that essentially is permanently affixed to the building. Ineligible things are all your soft costs, your engineering fees, your architectural fees, legal fees, furniture, appliances. Those things are ineligible when they come to calculate what your reimbursement is going to be. Large projects, as I explained, you have to apply beforehand. You cannot complete more than 15% of the work, or else you will be deemed ineligible when you apply. And you apply once a year. Up until about 5 years ago, they used to have 2 rounds, but right now they only have 1 round. And it must be, you're given a little bit more time. You're given 3 years. So I printed out for you a map of all the projects that have been done that have received state funding. We've had 43 projects that have received state funding from the Delaware State Housing Authority. Approximately just over $1.4 million of state funding has been allocated to 43 different properties. And we do have 1 property that has received funding twice.
What is the time frame that they've accepted these funds? Is it all within the last year, 24 months?
So these 43 projects have been since 2016.
Thank you.
Okay. So, yep. So I'm sorry, did you have a question?
I'm sorry.
Sure.
Which one applied twice?
Center Point Church.
Okay.
So Center Point Church applied twice. It used to be that you could only apply once. They did change the rules, and they changed it for the Hotel DuPont, actually, because you had so many individual tenants inside of that building that they allowed phasing. They allowed, if you did work on one part of the building, as long as you couldn't get funded for the same part of the building twice. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So of those projects, kind of broke them down for you. The biggest category are single family dwelling or duplex renovations. Somebody, put a new roof, put new siding, new windows on their house. If they spend at least $25,000, they can get 20% of that qualified cost back. However, when it comes to the reimbursement of the total grant amounts, it's a relatively small amount. The biggest specific category is new dwellings being constructed in the DDD. So you have 9 different single family dwellings or 2 family dwellings or duplexes that were constructed since 2016 on vacant lots. And that was $400,000 worth of state funding. But you've also had churches. You've had a couple of churches that have received funding. You have had 1 new mixed use building, which I'll go over. And you've had some renovations and tenant fit outs. So the biggest one is you've had 9 new single family dwellings and 2 family. These are, just a compilation of some of the ones, different parts of town. Some of your larger projects, so on the top left, you have Baybird Orthodontics, who did a tenant fit out of 1 small section of the Smyrna Health and Wellness building. On the top right, Cobalt Manor, Elizabeth Esther Cafe, Lindsay Powell Connolly and Tim Connolly renovated a house that had previously been condemned, actually, and brought it back to life, and we now have a restaurant on the 1st floor. Mount Olive Pentecostal Church was actually condemned by the town. Unfortunately, was not permitted to have services. We were able to work with them. They were able to do all of their renovations and get DDD funding. There was 4850 West Commerce Street. We had an arcade porch that was condemned by the town that had to come down, but they were able to use DDD funding and facade grant fundings to be able to clean the facade up so that it looks better for the community from the street. And they were able to get a much more attractive 2nd floor porch for that mixed use building. You've had 2 large projects that have had to go through the large project process, which is much more intense. One is the Dairy Suite, the former Dairy Suite, where Bob Johnson has his computer business on the 1st and 2nd floor, and Marmie's Creamery has their first floor ice cream shop. That was actually the single largest project. They received just under $200,000 in state funding. And then the Smile Place on North Main Street, they completely gut rehab the 1st floor of that commercial building. It was a former Dollar General, and then it had been converted to medical office space. They did around $1.7 million worth of renovations to that space, along with completely new exterior facade treatments. And they received just under $150,000 for state funds for Smile Place. So we are required by the state to offer a series of incentives. What we offer, every project in the DDD that requires a building permit that is greater than $25,000 cost of construction, they get a permit fee waiver. Qualifying projects, and I'll emphasize qualifying projects, there's only a handful have received them, do receive what's called a property tax reassessment waiver. So properties that are retained or not resold, they will not be reassessed for the value of their improvements. So if your property was previously worth and assessed at $100,000 and afterwards was assessed at $200,000, you will only be for municipal property tax purposes, you will be assessed for $100,000 for that 60-month period. The property tax abatement program was installed in 2019, but it's never been utilized. That's if you convert a rental unit to an owner-occupied unit, but that has not been utilized in the 10 years. Impact fee waivers are really only for new construction. So when somebody builds a new house, water, sewer, police, parks impact fees are given a waiver for new construction if you build a new house or a duplex or anything of that nature in the DDD. You get a business license fee waiver for first-time businesses, which actually have been used once, and then you get a utility fee rebate based on the size of the building. So just to see, for new construction, you get if you build a new building, you get the greatest amount of local incentives. So for a two-family, this is a two-family at 222 North Main Street. They received just under $15,000 worth of building permit fee and impact fee waivers from the town for this two-family dwelling. That's the greatest amount of impact. For renovation projects, it's typically much smaller. You might get $1,000 or $2,000 building permit fee waiver, but you're not charged impact fees for renovations. So the total amount of incentives that the town has given out has been 108,000, just over 108,000. Not every project gets something. Not every project in the DDD requires a building permit, for instance. So if you're doing work, say you're getting a new roof on your house, you could get $25,000 or $30,000 or $40,000 worth of work on your house, but it may not require a building permit. So if you don't get a building permit, you're not going to get certain incentives. Or if it's resold. So if you flip, let's say you're a home builder or a developer, you buy a house, you renovate it, and then you flip it. Most of our incentives you do not get to keep, with the exception of the permit fee waiver. We also are one of the biggest outside of the incentives itself. We offer what's called a facade improvement grant program. The town will this is through the redevelopment authority, Slum Clearance and Redevelopment Authority. The town redevelopment authority will award 25% of the value of exterior improvements from the street, up to $2,500 for residential buildings and up to $10,000 for commercial buildings. So if you do $10,000 worth of exterior improvements to your house within the designated area, you can get up to a $2,500 facade grant from the town. For a commercial business or a mixed use building, if you do $40,000 worth of exterior work, you can get up to $10,000. This is funded and it's self-funded through municipal vacant building fees. Since 2015, the town has given out $405,000 worth of facade improvement grants. It's the most of any municipality in the state. This is something that Dave Hugg, when he was town manager, helped institute, and this is certainly a great legacy that the town council at the time and he and the town leadership team and putting this together. It's been a huge success in helping to spur redevelopment in the downtown. Total of 94 different facade grants, most of them in the DDD. The Slum Clearance and Redevelopment Authority also has a revolving loan fund based upon $350,000 worth of USDA grant funding that the town received in 2015. And the town has issued loans to 5 different businesses in the downtown. Most recently in 2024 for $150,000 to the Smyrna, the owner of the building for Smyrna Sporting Goods, not to the Smyrna Sporting Goods business, but to the owner of the building to fund exterior improvements, which they are in the process of doing. In 2022, let me back up. In 2021, a couple of you were on council. The town received, as part of the American Rescue Act funding, the town received somewhere around $6.7 million. And the Treasury Department had 750 pages worth of restrictions in terms of how this, and guidance in terms of how this monies can be used. One of the things, one of the clauses under that 750 pages was that they could be used for commercial facades. And the town council in 2022 opted to be able to do an RFP to allow downtown businesses and businesses in the IORP, which is the two business parks, to apply for funds for commercial facade grants. The town council approved $488,000 worth of commercial facade grants, and we ended up funding $416,000 worth of commercial facade grants. Delaware Bactane opted not to, even though they were approved, opted not to do it. And a couple of them didn't spend as much money as they were initially anticipating. But again, only municipality in Delaware to use their ARPA funding this way, which has really spurred different property owners downtown to actually utilize. Smyrna Sporting Goods would never have opted to do renovations if it wasn't for this program, for instance. The state also offers what's called an historic preservation tax credit for up to 20% of the value of renovations. And it's what's called a transferable tax credit. So both for-profit income producing entities and nonprofits can apply. So churches, the fire company is actually the largest beneficiary of this. When they did their renovations to the fire company back in 2021, 2022, I helped them apply for and get, as an historic building, get them historic preservation tax credits to help pay for their renovations. But Mount Olive was also, Pentecostal Church was also able to do that. And that enabled them to be able to do those renovations to the church. And what they can do is, because those are nonprofit entities, they can sell those tax credits on the open market, and the banks in Wilmington, typically Discover Bank, M&T, Bank of America will purchase these tax credits from them at 80 or 90 cents on the dollar. But it's a great program that the state allows. Again, Delaware is very unique in that. One of the things that we were required to do is update our vision, goals, and strategies. So the overall vision for downtown Smyrna, this was agreed upon. Town seeks to foster and facilitate revitalization of the historic downtown commercial district, outlying residential neighborhoods, provide a place where people of all ages, incomes, and backgrounds can work, shop, live, and play. I'm not going to go through all of the goals and strategies. The goals are meant to be higher level, the 10,000 foot level, whereas the strategies are supposed to be meant more accountable, things that we can check the box and say that we did or did not do over the next 5 years. So some of the things that, there's a couple zoning changes, for instance, that were recommended and discussed. There's been a lot of discussion about things like vape shops, tobacco shops, whether or not they should be permitted in downtown in the central commercial district. And one of the things that the committee discussed and recommended was that the town consider amending the zoning ordinance to prohibit these new businesses in the central commercial district. Just as an example, for instance. Related to historic preservation, I don't need to go through all of these, so just if you have any questions, by all means. But
is this amendable should situations change?
You can ask for an amendment.
Okay.
So you're given a chance once a year to be able to amend your plan.
Okay.
And that includes your incentives. If you want to amend your incentives package, or if you want to amend your boundaries, you have the ability to do that once a year.
Okay. Thank you.
But generally they want you to do the hard work during this.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thinking of should economic times change and opportunities to meet some of the goals then.
Yep. So some of these aren't terribly controversial. But some of the things that actually cost money that are already in our capital, are already in our CIP, are things like doing streetscape on North Main Street. That's something that the town has discussed. We funded a design for, we haven't done yet, but that's something that everyone recognizes as a very good catalyst for being able to spark additional redevelopment in the downtown areas, to be able to do additional streetscaping and utility replacements in a couple of different areas. Okay. Parking has been, let me stay with that. Sorry, let me go back to that. Parking has obviously been, I'm trying to go back. I'm sorry. We discussed parking a couple meetings ago. We did a parking survey, found out where there's more parking challenges. And the one area that does have a challenge in their parking is in the vicinity of the Smyrna Health and Wellness Building. Okay. One of the things, I'm not going to go through all of the things in the demographic changes and everything like that. But one of the things I printed off, I did a survey of all the businesses in the downtown development district. And we have actually a lot of people work in our downtown for a whole host of different employers. And if you look on the first page and second page has the total number. You have over 500 full-time employees that work in our downtown development district. 181 of those employees are in the Smyrna Health and Wellness Building. But you have a couple of other large employers, including the Smile Place, which has almost 30. Ducks Unlimited has 35 employees. The town of Smyrna is a large employer here in Town Hall, the post office, for instance. And then you have a whole series of smaller businesses, but 181 employees. So that's something good to keep in mind, especially when it comes to parking. One of the things that we're required to do is to identify key priority projects, and that was something we did not do in 2014 or 2016, excuse me. We were not required at that particular time. The reason for identifying key priority projects is really for the larger projects. The projects that are estimated to take greater than $350,000 worth of work to be able to complete. This is a competitive process. So the last couple of years especially, there has been more applicants for large projects than there has been state funding. So if something is identified as a key priority project in a municipality, it essentially rises to the top and automatically essentially goes to the top of that scoring criteria for individual municipalities. So that's one of the practical reasons for doing that. So we identified 8. The state does not have a hard and fast line, but the discretion I got was to keep it to 6 to 8. Harris Manufacturing is the largest vacant building in town. It's in the downtown development district, just under 170,000 square feet. 129 North Union Street is the former electric. It was actually it was built as a cannery in the 1930s, but it was formerly the electric department was out of there. It was recently purchased by Ducks Unlimited. It's a metal fabrication company. They plan on doing well over $1 million worth of renovations. That was to the top of the list. Smyrna Sporting Goods right at the crossroads at the Four Corners. It's a building that's in need of upwards of $1 million worth of renovations. And it's actually 3 buildings. 6 South Main Street is just adjacent to Smyrna Sporting Goods. Also a building that in need, and the property owner is willing to consider doing at the Four Corners 1 North Main Street. 2nd and 3rd floor is currently vacant. It's gutted. So there's formerly 3 apartments up there. And the owner is looking at putting those apartments back. 19 West Commerce Street, that property has been vacant as former Time and Table, Crystal Piscal, Maverick Texas Barbecue. It's been a whole series of restaurants and bars over the years. Building with significant challenges to the building that's going to need a fair amount of work to be able to get a good tenant in that building or a good owner. The Howard's Amusements, 15 North Main Street was identified. The only residential property is 10 North Delaware. This is the former carriage house for the mansion. I can't remember the name, where Maria Newell lives. But this had been converted to apartments and it's been vacant. And it's had a lot of code enforcement actions against it. It's recently was purchased and the property owner is looking at doing a fair amount of renovation. So wanted to be able to give them the opportunity. So that concludes everything. I'd be happy to go over or answer any questions you might have.
Excuse me, Jeremy, the demographic information within the report, like, did any of it look at a breakdown as far as ages or how to, because I think one of the things that I don't recall seeing was anything actually categorized as far as age?
I think we did 8. We did household income and net worth, poverty and unemployment. We did populations, homeowner occupancy versus renter occupancy. We compared that. median home value, housing vacancy, educational attainment, growth of the month. So comparing the rental rates for both the rest of the town and in the DDD. So we were able to, just so that everybody's aware in terms of how we count the data. There are 2 census blocks, which are essentially our downtown development district. They're a little larger than our downtown development district, but we use those 2 census blocks to essentially separate that from the rest of the town and to be able to compare us to the rest of the town and then compare us to Kent County as a whole and then to the state as a whole. And as a general rule, for most of your economic indicators, the whether it's household income or unemployment rates generally are higher. Your unemployment is higher, your median household income is lower in your downtown development district compared to the town as a whole. Okay, we did compare, the same thing would hold true for educational attainment. The educational attainment rates tend to be lower in these 2 census tracts than as the town as a whole. Well, monthly rent was about the same, which actually that really surprised me. I was expecting rental rates in the downtown to be actually cheaper, but that wasn't the case actually. Housing data construction, for instance, the housing stock is significantly older. So 50% of the houses in the downtown have been constructed prior to 1940. Any other questions, Councilman? I'm sorry, I can't give you the, we didn't do an age breakout.
Yeah, no, I because I was just kind of curious because of looking at, I think one of the concerns that's been voiced from time to time is how to get, young people downtown and more young families to actually live, work, and play here. We're actually known as a bedroom community because most people work outside of the area as opposed to being here. So that's why I was asking about the demographic of age, whether or not that was something.
No, that was not looked at. No.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank
Did
you.
you have a question?
I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
I'd like a motion to accept the resolution 00-126 approving the Downtown Development District Master Plan and the 5-year renewal.
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion is carried.
All right, presentation and public comments. Remember, we have 3 minutes. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Good yourself.
Steve,
Good evening.
thank you for your time.
Don't forget to state your name, please.
Dave Math. Corey, I sincerely hope that since you promised to be here and devote time and effort into turning this town around, that your heartily position will not affect this purpose. Chief Donner, I want to commend the officers for spending time in the 25-mile-an-hour zone, watching for red light and stop sign runners, and enforcing the street sweeping ordinance. I have seen them in action and personally thank them when observed. The fire lanes still need our attention. I also would like to extend my condolences to you and the force in the loss of Corporal Snook. Just like the fire service, when we lose one of our own, be it state, county, or municipal, the endless pit is felt by everyone in the entire brotherhood. Please extend my sympathy to the rank and file, tell them to be safe, and our prayers are with them as they protect our community. Mayor and Council, I appeared here 2 months ago providing each of you with a copy of a letter I had sent 8 months prior that got no reply. Other than a brief phone conversation with the mayor on other issues I brought up that night, I still haven't received any answers. You talk about open government and concern for citizens' issues, but sadly, I'm not seeing it. Could I at least have my 2 self-addressed stamped envelopes back? Since they aren't postmarked, perhaps I can repurpose them. Finally, are you paying attention to the virtual lumber yards being built off North High Street? To realize the potential problems, you have to see them going up, not after being closed in with a roof and siding. Sure hope the fire company knows what they're up against. Speaking of which, who is going to tell the residents they are living on top of a former hazardous waste Superfund site? Surely not the one who rules the roost, the developer. They will do what they always do, laugh all the way to the bank. Thanks again for your time and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Ruth Bauer, 106 North Main Street. I was part of this project and on the steering committee, and I wanted to commend Jeremy for the many hours of work and rework and patience and hand delivering of packets and inclusion of everyone's ideas and thoughts in preparing this. And I know it was a huge body of work for him to do that, and I just wanted to recognize him for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to make a public comment?
We adjourn.
Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Seconded the meeting. It's at 7:45. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Everyone.